all well, feeling well, and, somehow putting up with this coronavirus thing. Whether it's good times, bad times, that's completely dependent on you. Has nothing to do with the coronavirus. For the rest of the nature, it's quite a boon to have everybody locked up in their homes. And nature is having a field day with it. It's like a vacation for the nature. So last night, I was thinking, and I came across this word in my ideas and my thoughts that actually I haven't used too much of. And the word is purity. So when you look at the definition of purity, it's something that is without contamination. Now, of course, the definition goes on and on and on, but something which is uncontaminated, something which is without anything else except for what it is. So then I started thinking, it's like, that's very intriguing. Something that is without contamination, something that is what it is and in its purest form. So when you start to think about that, so many things come to mind. It's like, whoa, is life pure? The way I experience my existence every day, is that pure? Or is that contaminated? Contaminated from everybody's idea, everybody's, concepts and everything else. Somebody from Mumbai actually wrote me a question, and I came across that. I've got a lot of questions. So I'm getting ready to start answering them one by one, but I usually reserve those for the weekend. But the question came up was, why do people believe in the caste system? In the world, a lot of apartheid in one way or the other way is exercised. Like just even after people found out that this coronavirus came from China, or it came from where it came from. I don't think that China particularly needs a label on it. But a lot of people, a lot of Americans of Chinese descent who've been probably living here, born here, um, started buying guns. I mean, it's like they were threatened because there are people out there who's like, oh, you're the one responsible for this. But it's completely crazy, of course. But we segregate, we look at the differences, we don't look at the similarity. We say, okay, that person is from China, that person is from Africa, that person is from India, that person is from, you know, uh, this place, and on it goes. And so the question was, where does this come from? And I was with a few people in the room, my staff basically, and we were talking. And I said, well, how would you answer that question? I said to them. And they said, nothing actually. And I said, look, it's very simple. Uh, it's a learned behavior. We're not born that way. We learn this. It's like you could take two babies that are 2-year old and put them in a room, and they're not going to say what's your caste, or what which country do you come from, or what is your origin, or are you Chinese, or are you African, or are you American, are you Australian. They will simply just play with each other. To them, you're a human being, you're a being, you're another person, very similar to how I am. So we learn these things. So in our thoughts these kind of things come, is our thought at that point pure? And the answer is no, it's been contaminated by something. Now, contamination is contamination, whether it is a positive contamination or it's a negative contamination, it is a contamination. It is no longer the pure thought, the pure understanding of being a human being. It is not the purity of how you can view your existence. All these other filters are coming in. This is important, that's important. I have to do this, I have to do that. I have this relationship with that person. I have that relationship with that person. That person is there, that person is there. And it gets contaminated. Now, you can say positive contamination or negative contamination. It doesn't really matter. It's a contamination. It's no longer that word, no longer what that word represents, which is purity. So, purity of what? Well, purity of life, purity of existence, purity of thought, purity of feeling, purity of understanding, purity of expression, purity of enjoyment, purity of fulfillment, purity of clarity, purity of you as a human being. So, what do all these things mean? That we feel. But do we really feel what the feeling is? How it should be felt? Should I give you an example? Feeling of being alive. When a tragedy happens, it's like, oh my God, I'm so glad, it didn't happen to me. Or, it sets us back and goes, oh my God, I'm so fragile, I'm this, I'm that. 10 minutes later, we've forgotten it. We've forgotten it because we came across something more important. We got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. So, feeling of being alive, feeling of being alive. Do we keep feeling that feeling consistently? Or does that get contaminated? How many things in our life actually get contaminated? When it comes to even knowledge of the self, it gets contaminated by other people's idea. So really, even understanding the word purity, just for the sake of it, we're not getting too deep into it and going, oh my God, no, just for what it's worth. I guess understanding purity, purity, just purely. Not trying to give it meaning, not trying to give it twists, not trying to give it all these other things, but just what is it about? Your existence, you being alive, you being able to feel. You being able to feel the reality in a very pure way, the purity of it. Your connection to your Creator, pure. And see, this is where it gets very, very tricky. Because for you to have that connection with your Creator be pure, you have to have a very pure understanding of your Creator. For you to be able to understand what is that pure feeling, you have to know what it is that you are feeling. What does pure love look like? That is not because of a reason, that doesn't have a season attached to it, that doesn't have circumstances attached to it, but something that is purely love. And that you can feel without inhibition, without having conditions attached to it, circumstances attached to it. I love you because, and it's very funny because when children love, they love. And children are not the ones who carry a grudge too far. They pretty soon they forget and they go on. And of course, older they get, they can carry that grudge much, much further. But when they're really, really young, and they want to punish you, they want to punish you as parents, or they want to punish you, or they want to say something nasty to you. And, of course, they don't know all the nasty words and this and that. Well, these days I don't know, but usually they don't know the nasty words. So one of the things they say is, I don't love you anymore. And it is the cutest thing. It's like, this is like the worst possible punishment that this child can throw at you, that their love has been taken away. What must be their definition of what love is? That it is unconditional, because even after having said, I don't love you anymore, 2 minutes later, 10 minutes later, everything is fine. I remember that one day when my grandchild said to me, this is the worst possible birthday I have ever had. And I mean, he wasn't that old. So it wasn't like a long list of birthdays that he had been through. He wasn't like a big veteran that had fought many, many wars. And then he got the good presents that he kind of wanted. His expectations were fulfilled. And everything was fine. It was the best birthday he had ever had. So we go around in this world, and every interaction we have, it really is about our expectations being fulfilled. If a loved one fulfills our expectations, oh, you're wonderful, I love you. But if that person does not fulfill your expectations, they do something really stupid or really weird, you no longer, you will question your love. This is strange. This is not pure love. So, can there be pure love in relationships? I don't know. I don't know. Should there be pure love in relationships? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. My job here is just to point out the purity of love, that there must be some form of love that is absolutely pure. And that better be used on you as well. And whatever else you want to use it on is one thing, but it better be also used on you. That you have that love for you that is unconditional. Because you're going to need that love. People start to sometimes hate themselves. They don't know the purpose of their life anymore. They question everything in a very weird way. And yet, to have that purity of love for the self, and purity of understanding who you are, and purity of that self-knowledge for you, not contaminated by somebody, and it doesn't matter who they were, what title they wore. Contamination is contamination. Pure is pure. So, having an understanding of your life, of your circumstances, the time you're in, and understanding it in a very pure way. Not this is happening and that's happening and that's happening and that could happen and that could happen, because believe me, when those things start to strike you, the possibilities, and especially the negative possibilities, when they start to strike you, they can eat you alive. And there's no cure for it. There's no pill you can take for it. There's no cure for it. It can get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And this has a physical effect. So there's thought that has been contaminated by circumstances. So, what is the pure thought like? What is that purity truly, truly like? And only the heart, I feel, can verify to the purity, not by definitions that this is pure, but the acid test, so to say, would truly be the heart to say, yes, I understand the purity of it. Look, in this world, if things are contaminated, they're contaminated. So you get on with it. A lot of people go to restaurants, and sometimes I go to restaurants, and I always wonder if that food is pure. You don't know if that whatever you have ordered, your carrot halwa or carrot cake could have fallen on the ground, and the chef picked it up and put it on the plate. You don't know that, but fine, you sit there and you eat it anyways, right? But the heart, the purity of those things that matter to me, that are important to me, that carry a significance in my life, that the stronger, the more pure that is, my understanding is, my feeling is, my love is, my clarity is. That without an exception, if I have the purity of these, that then I truly stand on mighty grounds. And I have the power of purity. I have the power of that light that shines in my heart, that shines, that repels the darkness of all that affects me negatively. That purity is real, that purity is good, and I feel it. That's how it has to be, that I feel it. If I don't feel that purity, then I have nothing. So I have to now conjure up the definitions of purity in my head. And then I have to go around asking people, is this pure? 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 And then I hope somebody tells me, yeah, that's pure. And then I have to believe them. I don't have a choice. I have to believe them. I have to believe them. My goodness, if I don't believe them, my boat is sunk. But that's when you have to know to turn to your own heart. Not somebody else, but to your own heart. Because that heart is where that divine is. And by that very definition, the purity resides there. The purity is there. The purity is in you. To be able to look and understand what that is. To be able to weed out all the contaminants. To have something that is pure. In India, they have these trays, and they put the wheat or rice that they're cleaning, and they go like this. And because of that, I've done it, and the motion is not only up but slightly outward. And the rocks have a higher gravity or higher density, so they go further. But when you do this, and so they're weeded out, and what is good, the rice which is lighter, stays. And they can do it very fast. And next thing you know, that rice is clean. And of course, when the chef cooks the rice, he also takes a look at it. He pours in a plate whatever he's gonna cook, and then he just goes through it very quickly. And it's very easy to see if there's something dark, because rice is white. If something dark, you take it and you throw it out. You pick it up. The purity. We like purity. We don't like impure water. We like pure water. We like pure food. We like that little label, pure olive oil. pure coconut oil, pure this, pure that. Anyways, give it a thought about that purity, how it relates to your existence, to your life. So be well, be safe, be. I'll talk to you later. Thank you.